Welcome to Three Things I've Learned with your host, Susan Dolce, where we share the stories that shift our souls. In the next hour, we will dive deep into the soul-shifting magic of stories. Stories of radical transformations, courageous breakthroughs, and life lessons. We're all students in this soul school called life. We don't need to do this alone. Why not share our notes? Three Things I've Learned starts now. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the holiday edition of Three Things I've Learned with me, Susan Dolce, where we share the stories that shift our souls. So if you are watching on Facebook Live, you will see that we are having a fireside chat today as I sit next to my fireplace. I apologize for all the wood-burning fireplace people. I do appreciate and love the smell of a good fire, but this is gas and it goes on and off really easily. So that makes me really happy. And I've made myself a cup of tea because it's just the two of us chatting today. Today we are talking about holiday stress. Boy, that's a big one, especially this year. But on top of that, as I said, I'm flying solo. So I would love for this to be a call-in show. If you have any tips or stories or ideas of how to manage crazy holiday stress, I would love to hear from you. That number is 1-800-930-2819. So holiday stress. We made it through Thanksgiving. Check that box. That's behind us. For many of you, I know Hanukkah is going to be winding up here on Friday. And Christmas is next week, y'all. It is next week. I don't know if you've struggled from holiday stress in the past, and I have, and I'm going to be telling so many stories. But if you've struggled from holiday stress in the past, I'm guessing that you are somewhere in between autopilot or denial. And I am definitely in the autopilot mode. I'm grateful for some of the systems I already had in place, like online shopping. Do most of my Christmas shopping online anyway, so just tweaked that a little bit so that I could accommodate shipping schedules and everything. But I can say that the prepping of the Christmas, that's done. I'm blessed to have my Christmas decorations up, thanks to my darling daughters. We have a tradition of putting up our Christmas tree the day after Thanksgiving. And there's three here. There's one in the basement. We have 4 Christmas trees. And the reason this is a significant story is back in the day, when my kids were little, I decorated Christmas trees for our church, our parish, that were auctioned off for the big Christmas gala. And I usually did at least 3 large Christmas trees, maybe a couple of small Christmas trees. But I was the queen of the Christmas tree. And so much time and effort and energy and thought went into what that particular tree was going to look like for that theme, for that, if it was being auctioned off. But I had the same ridiculous amount of perfectionism in my own trees. And over the years, the colors might have shifted a little bit, and the maybe theme had shifted a little bit. But the kids were allowed to decorate one tree with their kid ornaments. And that one was always in the basement. It was relegated to the basement because the trees that I decorated had to be on the first floor. Yeah, a little bit of ego there, right? So, but I put so much time and energy into it. Like I had to decorate the trees. Nobody else could. And over the years, I've let that go a little bit. But this year, as I said, we always decorate our trees the day after Thanksgiving. And this year, if you've been following some of my shows, you'd know that I recently lost my mom. Not to COVID, but may I say, I believe, the unintended consequences of a pandemic. And so her memorial service this year was on the day after Thanksgiving. And we weren't going to abandon the tradition, and the kids were all leaving on Saturday. So we kind of had a time frame. If we were going to get them up and do it as a family, we needed to do it that Friday. And needless to say, we had just completed the memorial service. It was a beautiful tribute to my mom. And even though it was a celebration of life, it's still emotional. It still takes a lot out of you. And my kids put up all the decorations. And I sat there and let them do it. I wasn't concerned about what they looked like, where particular ornaments were, because in the past I have certain trees that are smaller, and so they have more petite ornaments. I mean, I know, I hear you. I hear all of you going, really? But it's true. Confession, I'm a little bit crazy when it comes to Christmas trees. So, but it gave me so much joy to allow them to serve me in that way, to sit there and watch them figure out where they wanted to put which ornaments, picking out colors, and I'm sitting here as I'm gazing off at the bigger one that's over there. And so I digress, because this holiday is going to look different for a lot of us. So many of us have lost loved ones, and we are now going into, our first holiday season, our first Christmas without them, and the traditions that they brought into our lives, the traditions that we continued, that, we carried on from our parents and our cousins and our aunts and uncles. So I wanted to take a little time to talk about not just holiday stress, but what does a normal holiday mean, and what does it mean in this time in particular, during a pandemic, during, we're not going to holiday parties. We're not hugging. We're not having, gathering together. We're not having these big dinners. This is very different. And so it's a different kind of stress. And I took the time to put this list together of these 7 tips, because I learned this isn't something, these 7 tips did not come on overnight. These were all trial and error and tantrums and meltdowns and all the times I was like, okay, perhaps I need to change that. And that's how this list came to be. Because it did. It took me years of meltdowns to realize that the holidays weren't the problem, that my kids weren't the problem. My mother-in-law wasn't the problem. I was the problem. My expectations, my intentions, not prioritizing myself, prioritizing the wrong things for my family, always created way, way too much stress during the holidays. And I don't want that to happen to you guys, especially if you have little ones. So in this 7 tips for handling holiday stress, the first thing I want to talk about is intention setting. And this is something that I address with all my clients when we first start a session. This is how I start my day. I set my intention for that particular day. And meaning, how do I want to feel? So set your intention for the holiday season. How do you want to feel as you move through the month of December? And the key word there is feel. How do you want to feel? What are those words? Is it peace? Is it joy? Is it happiness? Is it calm? Is it less stress? I encourage you to take 15, 20 minutes and identify those feelings and really get creative with the words, because I think sometimes we cop out on describing our feelings. where we say we might be sad, but really it's despair. So I want you to take a moment to go through how you want to feel this month and jot down 2-3 feelings. What do you need to change or allow for those feelings to come up? What do you need to change or allow in order to make room for activities that create that feeling? And finally, another thing that I work with my clients a lot is inner child work. And again, I start my day every morning. I say, what do you need, little one? What do you need from me today? Because let's be real, when we're talking about Christmas, it's the little one who sets the expectations, right? Because we had that awe and that wonder and that joy and the excitement when we were little, and it's our little one who's craving that. So I think it's important to also ask your little one, what do you need from me today? What do you need so that you feel seen and heard? And let's not forget, in this time of gratitude and Thanksgiving and Advent, that what we appreciate appreciates. So if we put our focus on feelings of joy and love and kindness and, dare I say, peace on earth, we're going to attract those energies back to us. Those energies, those things are going to grow for us. We've got 6 more tips to talk about. We're going to take a quick break. This is 3 Things I've Learned. We are talking about 7 tips for handling holiday stress. We'll be right back.
Sanskrit is not just a language to be written and spoken, but it is a doorway to gaining understanding of how we experience life and truth. Conscious Confidence is a book written by Sanskrit scholar Sarah Main. The stories Sarah shares will take you on a journey of understanding how the power of this ancient language is not only still relevant, but can truly transform your everyday life. Drawing upon the deeper meanings behind the Sanskrit words for confidence, Sarah Main outlines principles for harnessing the fourfold energy of conscious confidence: focusing, uniting, simplifying, and energizing. Not just a book, a life guide. Available now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Inner Traditions. You can find all of those links on consciousconfidence.com.
Sometimes being human has its challenges. Our physical health falters, our spirits sag, our dreams don't immediately come to fruition. Welcome to the power of Maximum Medicine Radio. Join me, Doc Martin, in conversations that will blow your mind about healing. In our hit show, Doc Martin addresses the scientific with bridging to the mystical approaches to give you a new narrative about maximum medicine. In this live call-in show, we will journey into the extraordinary genius of the human body and talk about other beliefs that impact being your multidimensional self. We seek the seen and the unseen and explore the earthbound and the otherworldly, all with the purpose of calling forth the maximum you. To learn more about Doc Martin and Maximum Medicine, visit www.sharonmartinmd.com.
Learn how to lead a happier life on Miles to Go with Brittany Miles. How to lose to gain it all. Join Brittany every second and fourth Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Listen as coach and healer Brittany Miles shares stories that teach you about surrender. For more information about Brittany, milestogocoaching.com.
What we've been taught and told is not all there is. Life is all about energy, and the energy you feel is real. Tune into the Energy Paradigm each month on TransformationTalkRadio.com with Dr. Vic. The Energy Paradigm is an eye-opening, mind-shifting, transformative, and earth-shattering way to live, work, and do business that will enable you to unlock your magic every day. Visit theenergyparadigm.com.
Hey, welcome back. This is the holiday edition. I say tongue-in-cheek with my fireside chat. If you're watching on Facebook Live, Olivia just said that my fireplace looks enormous. It's really not that big. It's the camera angle. And it is not a Zoom fake background. That is indeed my fireplace, and I love my fireplace. So today we're talking about 7 tips for handling holiday stress, hot topic right now, I believe. And if you go to my website, you can get a copy of this free PDF, susandolce.com/7 tips for handling holiday stress. Also, if you have a tip or a story or creative idea to share, you can call today. It's 1-800-930-2819. And so before the break, first tip was setting your intention for the holiday season. So let's start with that again. Set your intention for the holiday season. How do you want to feel as you move through the month of December? Tip number 2, we need to talk about simplifying our priorities. We need to Marie Kondo our priorities, okay? So if it doesn't spark joy, it needs to come off the list. Only do the things that feed your soul and nurture your family's together time. Because I don't know about you, but I, again, full disclosure, Susan Dolce, recovering perfectionist. I used to be a Martha Stewart devotee. Now every time I hear her say the word perfect, I cringe a little bit because I really did. I felt like everything had to be perfect, and that was just unrealistic. It caused so much resentment and grief and just ridiculousness. I needed to reset my priorities. One example of me personally doing that was I'm Swedish. I'm Swedish heritage. And there's these Swedish Christmas cookies called pepparkaka. Delicious, thin, wafer thin, little cookies. It's a very delicate butter cookie. But man, these things are a pain in the butt to make. You have to make the dough. You have to chill the dough. Then you have to roll the dough out. You have to cut it. It's just, this is even harder than your traditional sugar cookie recipe, but it's delicious. So you do it. And I grew up making these, made them with my grandmother, made them with my mom. This was, to me, Christmas was pepparkaka. Okay. They go hand in hand. So when you have little kids, I'm still trying to carry on the traditions. And I would make myself crazy trying to make these cookies every year. And one year I was like, why am I doing this? I'm going to get a whole bunch of them from my mom. She's going to bring over a whole box. We don't need all these cookies. Who am I doing this for? Why am I making myself crazy like this? I don't have to do this for it to be Christmas time. I had a hairdresser in Cincinnati. I love her. She's fantastic. And when her kids, before she had kids, she started this tradition of making holiday bark for every single client. So if you came in, if you had an appointment in the month of December, you got a bag of peppermint bark or white chocolate bark. It was delicious. And one December, she was like, yeah, I stopped doing it. I was making myself crazy. And she had little kids, and she was like, I spent so much time and energy making this candy just so that my clients felt appreciated. And I told her, I said, Shiloh, I don't need candy from you to feel appreciated. You just cut my hair like a wizard. That makes me appreciate you. Stuff like that. What can we change? What can we allow? In the allowing, what do I mean by allow? When and where can you ask for help with stuff? For me, my allowing was letting the kids put up the trees. And I shouldn't say we've been doing it together as a family as they're older. So that might not, that was an easy thing to allow. But I Traditionally, I've done all the Christmas shopping. Traditionally, I have done all the present wrapping. Where can you ask for help? Where can you be open to receive something? Maybe it's grocery shopping. Maybe, let your partner help with the grocery shopping, or a child. But find ways to receive. You don't have to be the star of the show. You shouldn't be the star of the show. It's going to get done without you, regardless. Christmas is going to come, just like on The Grinch, You Stole Christmas. It's going to come regardless of what you do or don't do. So, because it's in our heart, right? It's the spirit of love and joy and kindness. So, simplify your priorities. Take something off your plate and allow somebody to help you. Number 3, this is a big one and a hard one for most people to do day in and day out. And that is prioritize self-care. Prioritize self-care. Your kids will pick up on your mood and stress level and amplify it back. This time of year it is essential to have quality self-care. So self-care doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. It could be maybe a few minutes twice a day in meditation. Maybe it's a cup of tea, taking time, making yourself a cup of tea and drinking that tea in presence. Maybe it's a tub, that's my favorite thing, or reading a book, or my personal indulgence, reading a book in the tub. Favorite thing to do. Feels so luxurious. I don't know why. It's an ordinary thing, but to me, reading a book in the bathtub is complete luxury. When we don't take care of ourselves, when we don't put ourselves first, y'all have heard that, you gotta, that airplane analogy where you have to put the mask on yourself before you put it on your child. Our kids pick up on our stress. Even if we are trying to fake it, they pick up on our stress. There was a time when my middle daughter, Katie, they're all adults now, so I can talk about them and they'll understand. My middle daughter, Katie, we were going to the grocery store. My oldest daughter was in half-day kindergarten, and we had to, or I shouldn't say we, I had a mission to go to the grocery store, get all of the groceries that we needed, get home in time to put them away, and get back to school in time to pick up my oldest daughter. I was completely stressed out. It was the middle of the school year holiday season, which if those of you have little kids, man, I feel for you right now. I guess it's probably different. I take that back because we're in a pandemic. So things are all of the typical holiday concerts and holiday plays and events and all the teacher gifts, all that stuff is probably, I shouldn't say, still give your teachers gifts. Okay, I take that back. Anyway, it was that time of year and it was crazy, crazy time. So she's in the cart in the grocery store and I'm frantically trying to get all of the groceries. And I don't even know what trinket it was. There was a trinket that she wanted. She insisted on having this trinket. And I was like, no, Katie, you're not getting this toy or whatever it was. For all I know, she either had one like it or I probably already bought, I don't know, but she was not getting this toy. And she could put up a real fuss when she didn't get her way. And I kept telling her, I said, Katie, if you don't stop asking for this toy, we're just going to leave. And in the back of my head, I'm like, nope, you're not going to leave, Susan, because you never do that. You're not going to leave a cart full of groceries. And we're going through the grocery store and now she's in full on meltdown mode. Now she's screaming and wailing because I keep telling her, no, she's not getting this toy. So you know what happens, or at least the moms of little kids and the dads of little kids, I think you know what happens when a kid starts to have a tantrum in the store. All eyes are on you, or at least that's how it feels. And now you feel like you are being judged from all angles as you are the crappiest parent. Why is your kid is so ill-behaved? Like, why are you letting your child scream? And I was doubling down. I'm like, Katie, if you don't stop, we're leaving. You're not going to get this toy. Finally, she's like kicking in the car. I'm just so embarrassed. Finally, I go up to the customer service area and I say, I'm sorry, I can't put these groceries away, but I need to get my child out of the store. And I left it there and I grabbed her and I went out and I got her into the car because I had to stick to my word, right? I said she wasn't getting the toy, even though I knew I'd have to go back and get the groceries and do all this all over again. I got her into the car and she stopped like that. She stopped. I mean, I stuck to my word. I did what I said I was going to do. I didn't let her have the toy. I abandoned the grocery cart. I felt badly for that, but I was so stressed. I set us up for that scenario to happen. I was trying to do too much with a tired, crabby toddler who needed a nap and some food, and I set myself up for that situation to happen. So when I say prioritize self-care, it also goes back to the simplify your priorities, right? Your priorities, not just putting yourself first, but prioritizing the things you need to do in the day that are going to suit your children, your list of things to do that day. Self-care in all things. Prioritize self-care. Your kids will pick up on your mood, stress level, and they will amplify it back. Okay, we're going to take another quick break. We have 4 more tips. We're talking about tips for handling holiday stress. This is 3 things I've learned. We'll be right back.
Thank you for listening in on Eye of Soul Radio on TransformationTalkRadio.com with me, Psychic Medium Jamie. Return next time for an empowering and yet chilling look into the raw side of spirit. For more information about myself and the Eye of Soul, visit eyeofsoulradio.com. That's Eye of Soul Radio. Eye of Soul Radio only on TransformationTalkRadio.com. See you next time.
It's time to shake out your money-making truth on Soul Wisdom Abundance with Jennifer Bloom, creating wealth from spiritual health on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This hit show is more than your roadmap to success. It's your compass to abundance through joy and ease. Jennifer Bloom teaches you about the soul's relationship to money and wealth and how improving that relationship serves both you and the world. Learn more at jenniferbloom.com.
How many times do you find yourself saying, "It was nothing," or "just doing my job," when really you knocked it out of the park? How did you get like this? Next time someone tells you "great job," you'll know how to accept it and not deflect it by listening to Courage to be Seen Radio with host Sherry Clark. Sherry Clark is an experienced global engineering leader, coach, and mentor. From her experiences one-on-one coaching to corporate consulting and executive coaching, Sherry has learned many women need at least 3 things to discover and face success. Learn about the ACES program, how to survive male-dominated fields with grace and authenticity, and reach the top without ever once giving up on who you are. Courage to be Seen host Sherry Clark explores the awesome power of your entire self and how far you can go by being more you. Check out her website, CourageToBeSeen.com. You have the courage to be seen. See you later.
Tune into 3 Things I've Learned with Susan Dolce every first and third Tuesday of the month at noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio. Join Susan and her guests as they share the stories that shift our souls about radical transformations, courageous breakthroughs, and life lessons. 3 Things I've Learned with Susan Dolce. For more information, go to TransformationTalkRadio.com or visit Susan's website at SusanDolce.com.
Are you tired of being tired? Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. Did you know the adrenal glands, the workhorse of the body? They are the means by which you position yourself in life for whatever comes your way. Tiny but mighty, producing hormones the body uses to promote energy and vitality. These adrenals determine how you respond to stress, and when depleted, the body loses its ability to function powerfully when we need it most. The much-needed adrenaline or epinephrine is not available for emergency situations. Cortisone and cortisol, the longer-acting anti-stress adrenal hormones, can also become depleted due to the pace of our everyday lives. We overwork, and undernutrition, our most powerful ally that helps us to live the lives we desire. We are able to determine the optimum function of the adrenals and put your system back in balance. Contact us today to feel powerfully energized at 888-777-4232 or visit us at maryjanemack.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back again. I'm really glad you're all here with me today. Today, I'm talking about 7 tips for handling holiday stress. There is a free PDF on my website, susandolce.com/7 tips for handling holiday stress. There's also a link in the episode description on Transformation Talk Radio. Just have to click that and I'll take you right over to it. And this list was built from the love of my heart for y'all and a lot of mistakes that I made along the way. So 1 was setting your intention for the holiday season. 2 is simplify your priorities. 3, prioritize self-care. And 4, where I'm going next, is the one that I still struggle with. And that is let go of the perfectionist in you. That is hard. It's hard because I am a chronic people pleaser perfectionist. And that's why I always say I'm in recovery. I mean, I do my best to say, okay, it doesn't have to be this way. The bed doesn't have to look a certain way. The vacuum, the carpet doesn't have to have carpet lines in it. I mean, I have been known to get really crazy sometimes. So anyway, let go of the perfectionist in you. Your kids crave your presence, not your idea of the perfect Christmas. They crave your presence. Double entendre, right? Not Christmas presents with a T, but presence as in your being present with them, seeing them, hearing them, laughing with them, playing with them. Leonard Jacobson, one of my teachers, he'll say that the first thing kids want from you, like a child, the first thing a child wants is presence. They want your presence. They want to know that you see them and hear them. Then, oddly enough, comes love. Love is second to presence. How do we do that? How do we be present with our children? I've talked about this before. I used to have it. I gave it away to somebody who needed to learn about presence with her children. And I had to watch, I'd share the name of the company, but it escapes me right now. And so I don't want to screw it up. But the watch face just has now on it. It just has the word now. And I got it when my kids were in high school. And what I loved about it is I would always put it on whenever there was a big holiday or like a graduation or a party, to remember to not worry about what time it was, what wasn't coming next, what matters right now. Now, being here right now, enjoying the party, enjoying the presence of the people I love. I can say, however, that it's very hard to be present and take pictures. So if you want pictures of your family and you want to be present, give that task to somebody else. Allow that. Oh gosh, if it weren't for my husband, we would have no pictures because I'm constantly trying to be in the present moment. But another thing I learned, another funny story is I used to spend all this time making sugar cookies for the kids to decorate. Again, cookies, baking, like it all had to be the perfect Christmas. And sugar cookies are a pain too. They're not easy. Like you have, again, make the dough, refrigerate the dough, roll out the dough, cut the dough. And then I had to make the fancy royal icing, and all the Anyway, one Christmas, I decided I was done with that too. And my kids were still pretty little. And I bought Market Day cookie shapes. If you don't know what Market Day is, I don't even know if Market Day is still around, but it was wonderful. It was like you could buy the stuff through your school. And you just went to your school and you got all your frozen goods. Anyway, Market Day cookie shapes. I think there were 6 different shapes in there. And I bought the shelf-stable icing, and I bought all the colored jimmies and decorations I could find. And we did that. We baked off they all got to pick their cookies. They each picked 2. They got to decorate them. They had a ball. And all I had to do was put some cookie shapes on a sheet and bake them off for 10 minutes or whatever it took. Taking that stress off of myself for some unrealistic idea of what I thought it meant to be a good mom or to provide them with this holiday memory. I mean, that's the goal, I think, for so many of us, moms and dads, is what are we trying to do with all of this? We're trying to create happy memories that we have from our childhood, happy memories of Christmas days and Christmas Eves. And that's what we're trying to do. That's our goal. But we don't have to make ourselves crazy to create happy Christmas memories. So let go of the perfectionist in you. Highly recommend it. 5, manage expectations. Manage expectations. Talk to your kids about what a visit to grandma's might look like and letting them know the order of events, because that can help them manage their excitement. We come from a big Italian family, biggish, and my father-in-law he's a retired Chicago cop, so he only had Christmas Eve off, and literally we would sit at the table for hours, and that was just what the family did. When you have 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds and they're a few feet away from a bunch of presents, it's really hard for them to sit still. And it's very hard to talk to kids about that, saying, okay, I'm still recommending it, but set expectations for the kids. Say, you know what, we're going to be sitting at the table for a while. If you need to get up, if you are feeling anxious, if you need a break, maybe set up a code word, or just politely ask if they can, go sit and quietly play or read or whatever. I also think it's important to manage your relatives' expectations. I think we've had family members in the past who had some unrealistic expectations of what little kids were capable of doing. I wish I would have spoken up when my kids were little. I did not. But I think if the kids are kind of aware of what's happening, I think it would be a smoother experience for everybody. Also, try your best to keep your routines. Try to keep your bedtime routines, bath routines. I know the nights can get late when we have holidays. Again, we might not be having a lot of that this year because #COVID, that damn pandemic. But try and keep routines the same. And one thing that I really want to fit in here is how it was. I read it online. The blogger, her name was Kelly Holmes. It was Happy You, Happy Family. And the expectation in my husband's family was everybody was always greeted with a hug or a kiss. Same thing with my family, I have to say. It wasn't just him. And we're just an affectionate family. But I believe that it is really super important nowadays to make, to help our children be comfortable with how they show affection. And when I say comfortable, I mean let them choose. So Kelly Holmes's recommendation was hug, handshake, high five. Give them the choice of what they want to do. Well, right now, none of those things are going to be happening. However, I really feel like this is an important topic to talk about. And going forward, I wish I would have known that when my kids were little. another tradition that our family had was that after the gifts were opened, the kids were expected to go around and hug everybody. And although that is, a nice show of affection and appreciation, again, not every kid is comfortable being touched. Not every kid wants to hug every person there. And we need to honor that. And we can't talk out both sides of our mouths and say, you need to learn to, people need to respect your body and you have the right to say no and consent and all of that. And then say, you need to go hug grandma. That's not right. So I totally think this hug, handshake, or high five is a really, really good idea for managing expectations. And again, if you're at the door and grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle opens the door and the child's hesitating because they don't know what to do, she recommends cueing them. Just say hug, handshake, or high five. Which one's comfortable for you? And give your child ownership of their bodies. So we talked about, in this section, we talked about letting go of the perfectionist. We've talked about managing expectations. We've got 2 more quick topics to cover, all very important. We're going to take one more quick break. We'll be right back.
We remember a time when you could simply form a thought and it would manifest. The harmony was forgotten, but it is returning now. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Juliet Griffin on TransformationTalkRadio.com each second and fourth Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll take you on adventures through the heart and spirit, exploring who we once were. This intuitive healer studied under the guidance of wolves, learning from their wisdom to master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Visit OneTrueSelf.com.
Are you trying to lose weight, but feel guilty for eating your favorite foods? Feeling deprived and resentful makes for results that aren't sustainable. Join Adrienne Craig every second and fourth Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com for her show, Master Your Mindset for a Weight Loss Breakthrough. Learn to love the journey and watch yourself succeed. For more information about Adrienne or to work with her personally, visit lifecanyon.com.
Are you tired of being bloated and nauseous? Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. Did you know eating unhealthy foods eventually leads to an unhealthy digestive system? Did you know eating the most healthy, nutritious food doesn't necessarily result in a healthy body? The stomach must be healthy in order to properly digest, metabolize, and utilize even the best of nutrition. Without proper digestion from the stomach through the intestinal tract, the nutritious value is not absorbed, and the improperly digested food can be more toxic to your body than helpful. You can be doing all the right things and getting all the wrong results. In fact, other organs may also be interfering with your stomach's ability to digest. With CRA, we are able to determine the specific cause of the digestive issue and use the proper nutrition to correct the imbalance. Contact us today for your appointment at 888-777-4232. That's 888-777-4232. Or visit us at MaryJaneMack.com.
Hi, I'm Laura Goldstein, and here's a Coffee with the Universe tip. Let me ask you, how do you start your day? Do you wake up anxious and on edge, already feeling the pressure of your giant to-do list? Or do you wake up feeling calm, collected, and excited to start your day? Here's the little secret. How you start your day sets the tone and foundation for the rest of your day. A stressed morning creates a stressed, just reacting to everything day. A calm and connected to self morning leads to aligned and confident choices that help you reach your goals. So take a good look at your morning routine. What can you do to set up a healthy foundation for your day? To get some ideas and a sneak peek into my own Coffee with the Universe morning routine, go to www.coffeewiththeuniverse.net.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my fireside edition. If you're watching on Facebook Live, I've got my beautiful fireplace behind me. I made a cup of tea. It's just the two of us chatting today about stress. Who isn't stressed? So I have 7 tips for handling holiday stress. We talked about intention setting, simplifying your priorities, self-care. Prioritize self-care. I can't say it enough. Let go of the perfectionist in you. Still trying to do that. Managing expectations. And I was just talking before the break about hug, handshake, or high five with regards to children, how children greet relatives or family friends or whatever. And I can't say that enough. I think this is a really important tip to work into our families. So 2 more. Number 6 is build holiday traditions and rituals that work for your family. It is okay to start your own traditions. As I was said in the last segment, I was saying that, why are we doing this? I think we want to create happy memories for our kids. We want them to feel the way we felt when we were little, that awe and wonder and joy of Christmas and the magic and all of that. But not every tradition or ritual that you have is necessarily going to work in your family today. Funny story. Again, must talk about my middle child. Maybe it's birth order. I know she's listening because she's all about fairness and being at the center of attention. I love her dearly, but she would say, yeah, you're right. I'm all about fairness and wanting to be the center of attention. So we had this tradition of going to, when I grew up, we always went to Christmas Eve church services. And we always went to Christmas Eve church services. And it was always because there was the pageant. Like I wasn't in the pageant, but we always wanted to see the Christmas pageant. Who doesn't enjoy a little kid dressed up as an angel or a shepherd? And that was, the fun of going to that particular church service. So when our kids were little, Katie was probably about 2, a very precocious 2, a very good vocabulary at 2. And we were going to go to the Christmas Eve Mass. There were 2 Christmas Eve Masses. One was at 4 and one was at 6. They both had a pageant. I think they had so many kids that, one set of kids was in one. And anyway, our church was divided. It was an old German church. So the old church was on one side and the new church was on the other side. So the altar, you would see through to the other side of the sanctuary. And because it was so crowded, we weren't expecting that. We were sitting the old side of the church. It's me, my husband, our oldest daughter, lovely middle daughter, Katie, my mom, and my dad. And it's Christmas Eve. So it was now well past 6:00 and we hadn't eaten. I was setting myself up for failure already. We hadn't eaten. They knew they were going to go home for presents. But here we are, we're in church and we can't even really see the pageant because we're sitting on the wrong side of the church because that's where the seats were. And we get to this pregnant pause in the service where the readings are done and they're about to now enact we sit because now they're about to enact the readings with the pageant on the other side. And there's this everybody sits down and Katie stands up and says very loudly, "I hate church." And I'm mortified once again. Everybody turns and looks at us. There were quite a few snickers and laughs. I mean, who couldn't laugh at that? And I'm like, Katie, it's, please, it's, we're going to get through this. I hate church. And then she sat there and made a grumpy face the rest of the time. I was so humiliated. Whose kid screams out they hate church in the middle of church? So I can also say that Katie does not hate church anymore, but she was 2. She was hungry. She wanted to open presents. Like I said, I set myself up for failure. So build traditions that work with your family and your family's needs. Don't try and carry over a tradition just because. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. Let it go. Let it go. Finally, the last tip. This is a hard one. Still is a hard one for me. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. Setting boundaries is essential for healthy relationships and stress management. There are lots of ways to say no without being rude, and when in doubt, practice your polite decline. I have to do this because I am a people pleaser, and if somebody comes to me and asks me to contribute something, to cook something, bake something, sew something, I will get that feeling in my body that everything in my body says no, and my mouth says yes. And then I'm kicking myself. Why did you say yes? You don't want to do this. You don't have time for this. I'm worried about, I know why I say yes, because I want to seem nice, air quotes, nice. I want that person to like me. I want to seem helpful and agreeable. All of these things that really don't matter. They really don't matter, because whatever anybody thinks of me, whatever anybody's opinion is of me, is really actually none of my business. Because everybody's got an opinion of me. Not all of them are probably good, and that's not my problem. That's not my problem, and I have to stop making it my problem. So setting boundaries, saying no, what's worked for me especially is practicing. There are so many ways that you can say no without sounding witchy. There's let me check my schedule. I'll get back to you. And then you can always passively aggressively send an email. That's sort of the, not that it's bad. It's just, instead, if you don't want to say no to their face, you can say, I've got a lot on my plate right now. Maybe there's somebody better suited for this. Have you asked so-and-so? There are all sorts of ways that we can say no without feeling like we're hurting people's feelings. And I practice it. There was one time I knew I had a big no that I had to say, and I wasn't looking forward to it. And so I practiced it in the mirror, and I kept practicing it because, like, muscle memory, right? If you do it enough, it's just going to come out right. And it worked. I practiced saying, I'm sorry. I have a lot going on right now, and I just really can't say yes to this. And I did it, and they were fine with it. And I was like shaking like a leaf when I said it, which was ridiculous. It's okay to say no. It is okay to say no. So to recap, holidays are crazy. This holiday especially, we're just dealing with so much more than we are in a typical holiday. Be gentle on yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be all things Martha Stewart. It just has to be genuine. It has to come from your heart, which is why I said set the intention. Because if you come into this holiday with joy and you go through this list and you prioritize self-care and you simplify and you build traditions that work for your family, I hope that you will have, I hope following those few things is going to give you a calmer, happier, more enjoyable Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever you celebrate. This is a crazy time for all of us, so be gentle on yourself. We all have a story to tell. I've had a lot of stories today, but we all have a story. We can live in the story, or we can transform the story. It's your choice. Change your story. Change our world. #Storyfield. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you for listening to 3 Things I've Learned with Susan Dolce. Tune in every first and third Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com for more inspiring stories of radical transformations, courageous breakthroughs, and life lessons. For more information on Susan and the stories that shift our souls, visit her at SusanDolci.com. That's SusanDolci.com. DOLCI. We'll see you next time.
Views expressed on this program are those of the host, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the station, its management, or advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.